Welcome to Season 3 of Unspoken Truth. This will be a journey of breaking generational curses, spiritual ties, while we live in our purpose, and to become one with our higher selves through breaking chains of poverty consciousness and understanding the power of attraction, and always aiming to be better versions of ourselves and vibrating in our frequencies. Join me on this journey of discovering unspoken truths and changing the narrative. This is from a woman who's just like you, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and God's child. And in everything else in between, I am still an individual riding the waves of life. I am Nita Terry T, your host of Unspoken Truth. Before we get into our episode, I wanted to take the time to apologize, as this episode had to come out earlier. I ended up being sick. The vid got me and had to give myself some time to fully heal. I'm not 100%, but I'm more functional. Apologies, my Unspoken Truth family. Let's start. Today's episode, we're talking about men can spell desperation. Sometimes loneliness makes the loudest noise. Aaron Benzie. It's easy for us to be trapped in a cycle of wanting to be wanted or loved. In that process, we directly or indirectly start wanting something real, something that feels whole because we are ready to settle down, or parts of us feel that way. In that cycle, again, you tend to start being desperate for love. You start seeking it either in the right places, but you end up attracting the wrong people also in wrong places. And you attract the same, which is desperate men who are seeking a safe net and not love. Hear me out. Let me break this down. Men can smell desperation from far, making it easy for them to manipulate any situation and landing you in a one-sided relationship. Have you ever felt when you enter into a relationship, you're giving more than you're getting in return? You call him more, you suggest dates, you're the one pushing the relationship forward because you need it to work. 1, from the fear of being lonely, or 2, from wanting to be loved at whatever cost. You tell yourself it's okay, it will work out. You start creating lies for his behaviors. You excuse his thereof lack of actions, and your sacrifices blind you because you no longer put yourself first. Once men have figured that out, that you're desperate and you're in need, they will tell you what you want to hear. They'll feed onto your future narrative and drive the notion that they're on the same ride with you so they can benefit from you in so many ways you could imagine. These type of men, right? We don't want to call them men are trash or they're scrubs or whatever, but there's this type of men, not all men, it's a type, right? They will put you on a pedestal. In reality, you're just a pit stop while he prepares for what truly matters. I want to repeat this. These type of men will put you on a pedestal, but in reality, you are just a pit stop while he prepares what truly matters. They know you won't leave. They have psychoanalyzed you and see your fears and insecurities that start feeding off you, right? So they start feeding off you and you start to lose little of yourself each day. They will blame you for your assumptions. You'll find yourself being always gaslighted, so they stay in control of your every move. As long as you're on a leash, you are their puppet and they can do whatever they want. Anything. You'll do that anything because let loneliness take over. The need to be needed or loved, that sense of desperation puts you at a much vulnerable state of emotional abuse and manipulation. Because once you're somebody's puppet, they can easily manipulate you. They can easily emotionally abuse you because they know you're vulnerable. They sense it, they smell it, they see it. They see that desperation. And you're just going to be put in this cycle of being mistreated. You're not going to be seen, you're not going to be loved, but you're in the cycle and you're going to be trapped. Okay? We easily all have fallen into these traps because we convinced ourselves that it feels right, even if parts of us are questioning these things, right? Parts of us are just questioning everything that's happening, but because we really want to be loved. The red flags are when you slowly start turning from being his girlfriend to being his deputy mom or parent. And what do I mean by that? Now, his well-being is more important than yours. You worry about him more. You're no longer a girlfriend, you're a mother. You care if he has eaten and he has slept well, and whatever the case might be. Half the time it makes you a good girlfriend. But now, because this is a one-sided relationship, are you a girlfriend? Or have you turned into his deputy mom? Think about it. Just because if your concerns are of his well-being and everything he needs, you're quick to provide without questioning your mind, you create a narrative that you're doing it for the greater good or for the relationship, yet the greater good is one-sided as you burn out and he flourishes. The typical age we fall for these relationships, those traps of situationships, calling it a relationship is just, it's not, it's situationships. For the typical age that we find ourselves in this rut of nonsense is in our mid-20s and late 20s, around 23, 29, because our hormones are already telling us the clock is ticking. Society and family are looking at you like you're going to die alone with your 100 cats if you have cats. Once that pressure builds, that's the start of desperation phase. You're vulnerable, trying so much to subconsciously prove a point that you will find someone. Desperation can make a person do surprising things. Veronica Roth. Let me tell you a story. What would be Unspoken Truth podcast without me sharing my stories? So let's go. I met this guy in a circle of mutual friends. Even after being warned to stay away, I just couldn't resist the charm I felt for the tricks. At that point of my life, I truly needed to be needed and loved, trying to feel emptiness of feeling lonely. My body yearned to be loved, touched, appreciated, seen, affirmed. I just wanted to be seen, to be loved, to be touched, to be affirmed. Even if there were red flags, I wouldn't have noticed. I wanted what I wanted, and many of us have fallen for that trap. So, every bunch of flowers he bought, every pickup after work, the efforts he put in, I was blinded to notice that it wasn't love. I was being fooled by the things he didn't have and the things that didn't even belong to him. His girlfriend's stuff were also used on me. Meanwhile, I thought I was the only one, but we were all desperately in love with the same men who took from us. I was just yet another little fish that got baited, who would later be also his safe net. And you're asking yourself, what do I mean? That means he drove his girlfriend's car to come pick me up at work. He stayed with his girlfriend. That means whatever finances they had at home also funded me, right? And at that point in time, the things that we do together, I also funded. I didn't see myself as a side chick. Why? Because I didn't know he was in a relationship. I was his main chick who got picked up, dropped off. But little did I know, me and this woman were the same. We were desperate for the love and attention we got from this man. We were completely desperate. Wanting to be wanted, wanting to be loved. Fell for the tricks. We were baited. But anyway, let's fast track. I had provided the comfort in this lifeless situationship or so-called untitled relation. But because I needed to be needed, it didn't matter. I created the narrative that this was going to be something, even if the pits of my stomach told me that you're fooling yourself. I held on to this hope that it just needed to work out. I had the hope it just needed to work out because we got along. We had so much in common. But little did I know, he was feeding off of the things I liked and made it seem as if we had a lot in common. I clearly was desperate and lost the love and respect I had for myself. We all easily fall in these traps of lifeless relationships, or should I say situationships, just to fill a void of loneliness and being terrified of our own silence. So, I urge you, my beautiful women, to put yourselves first and always take note of red flags. Do not ignore what your intuition tells you. Pay attention, because there are parts of us that subconsciously yearn to be loved, and we deserve the love we yearn, but from the right people. Though only with people or someone who's willing to put all of themselves into it, or to be part of the ride with you. Let's not give into unnecessary pressures, trying to please a man in hopes of love and attention. Let's be honest, love shouldn't be so hard to receive. When it looks like a mission, feels like a mission, or becomes hard, it's time to evaluate, especially when your sacrifices surpass his efforts of meeting you halfway. And no, you will not die alone. Take your time to heal yourself, because like-minded people attract like-minded or vulnerable people. Though when you put in the work, I guarantee you that with time it will all be worth it. Be careful of tricks and scrubs that are out there. Love yourselves and remember your worth, and never sell yourself short for anything or for anyone. Let the universe do the rest. Just relax and let everything you wish for in a relationship fall into place. I want him desperately, even if I simultaneously know that a lot of things I might want in my life are not good choices. Sophie Kinsella. Before I leave you all with this message, I wanted to thank you all for supporting me and listening to the podcast. It's because of people like you that I continue recording and sharing my stories, hoping that it heals someone else, knowing that they are not alone. We all go through it. Life isn't easy, but what matters is how we get through it. And I know we had promised that X would drop us a visit before the year ends, but sadly, we can't hold on to that promise. You will hear from him in the new year as season 3 continues. Follow me on Instagram and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcast. I am Nita Terry T, your host of Unspoken Truth. Until the next episode, remember, everything in life comes with divine order, divine timing, and divine presence. Always surrounded by divine spirit. Dear you, you're going to be just fine. So, to you all, I thank you. Merry Christmas and have yourselves a wonderful new year. See you in 2023. Love and light with just a little bit of fairy dust and unicorn hugs. Bye.
The Unspoken Truth is the catalyst for important and thought-provoking conversations that need to be had. The network tackles social ills, spiritual healing, soul-searching, and mental health awareness. To subscribe, click on the show link to follow our podcast and be part of the Unspoken Truth family. Find us on all social media platforms.